vaccine injury table, meaning
it's not considered as damage.
You have to then go into what we call causation, and you have to prove it. Well, here's where it gets really ugly, not only for the petitioners, but also the medical experts, the doctors. The doctors are going to have to get up there and say, yes, this is exactly what's happening. But then they get the unknown pressures from their peers and from the industry, and they may be subject to...
cry. Yeah,
and then they might be subject, if they're in a research hospital or something like this, where their research dollars might be taken away from them and things like this. So you have these pressures put on, so we're going to see how this one works out. But one of the greatest fears I have is what's going to happen when these girls, most of these girls, or even a lot of them, we've had, several million doses already administered in the United States alone, and who knows how many worldwide. When most of these girls are not in childbearing years.
They're not fully mature. Their brain is not fully developed. There's a whole slew of problems that may occur.
What's going to happen when they start having children? Are we going to start seeing the next issues in regards to birth defects and other issues with their children? We won't know that for probably another decade when majority of these girls start having children. What's going to happen to them? But no one is going to study them. There is no aftermarket studies monitoring these girls, all these millions of girls that are being vaccinated around the world right now. They're monitoring them for 1 to 2 years after the fact, okay? But not 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road when they start having children.
True.
We won't know what's actually going to happen. That's my big fear for this.
I think it's important to talk about is the beginning of Gardasil, what it was originally designed for. Have you heard of a doctor named Dr. Boyles, Boles?
Yes.
She's a local American doctor. She's on Blog Talk Radio, and I called into her show one day, and the subject was Gardasil, and she blew me away. I'll send the link to you and on Facebook of the show. Mm-hmm. It's about 8 minutes into it. And she put me on the air, and I was like, wow, that's quick, and because she was talking about different things. And she told me the origin of Gardasil, and this is hard to hear, Wayne, that it was originally designed for rectal cancer. In the 80s, men with HIV, more often homosexual men with HIV, had a high incident when they had active AIDS of rectal cancer as well, because their immune system was compromised. This Gardasil was created for that, rectal cancer. Well, surmise it to say it was not an effective vaccine. Well, Merck had spent a lot of money developing this vaccine, a lot of money. So they repackaged it, and it was delivered to our girls who were not really of age to be having regular sex. In order to have cervical cancer, it's usually called by the HPV vaccine, for my callers who do not know. There's over 100 HPV vaccines, and most, not vaccines, viruses. And normally our body gets rid of this HPV virus. Keep calling it a vaccine. And
if you have a healthy immune system, your body should be able to handle most of those, right?
Most women get an HPV virus at one point in their life. It can be from a toilet seat. It can be from sex.
Right.
It can be from a number of situations. Cross-contamination. I mean, it happens.
Right.
But I want to get this clear. This vaccine was created for rectal cancer. All of the world has been had. All of the world has been had. In Canada, in 1991, they banned it because it was killing the people who were having the vaccine. In India, just recently, it's banned. In France, you can't get it. There's no way. They will not give the Gardasil vaccine there anymore. It will not happen. You know, there's other countries that are following suit. But I want you people that are listening to realize that this cervical cancer vaccine that's supposed to only protect against 3 HP viruses, and there's over 100, mind you, this vaccine only lasts for 3 years. It's 3 shots for 3 years for a child of 11, which, I mean, I would hope the child of 11 is not sexually active. I mean, my voice shakes. I became almost ill when I heard Dr. Bull telling me all these things. And she knows what she's talking about. She had worked in the area of vaccination, especially on the Navajo reservation. And for my callers who do not know, if you're on a Native American reservation, all the rules for vaccines are tossed out the window, and they experiment on Native Americans. And they are highly susceptible to vaccine injury. My daughter, who almost died from her vaccine reaction, is 1/2 Cherokee, and I am part Menominee. I am an 16th. My mother's an 8. You know, they're just more susceptible to vaccine injury. And just boggles the mind. You know, think twice before you get this vaccine for your child whose brain has not fully developed until that child is 23, your child whose reproductive system has not fully developed at age 11. What are we doing? Please think, for anyone that's listening to my show, I'm not a crazy anti-vacciner, but I do believe if you get a vaccine, you're entitled to a safe vaccine. You're entitled to valid information. You're entitled for, if you hear that they say the mercury has been removed, that's a common sense term and not the legal definition, that you don't have to look at the legal definition of removed. You know, or if your child has a reaction to a vaccine, that most people don't realize that you have to follow within 3 years of the date of injury. I mean, who would believe that a vaccine would cause that much damage? I certainly was not one of those people. Now I'm really going on a roll, and I need to get back to the topic of Gardasil. Had you heard? Well, I mean, it's emotional to me because I'm a mother of a vaccine-damaged child. You know.
So is my son. Yes.
Yes, you know my story. I know your story.
Yep.
You know, but these people, they really need to hear in layman's term. If your doctor says removal, this is what it means. So that's why I say it so much till I'm hoarse, because this is something I can do. I can't travel. I can't do the things I once was able to. So let's get back to Gardasil and the future of it. Where do you see Gardasil going in the United States?
Well, I understand that Merck's got a new vaccine, basically nicknamed Gardasil 2, that they're going through clinical trials now, or they're going through some additional development. And they're trying to release it. Now, my understanding is that I heard it was supposed to maybe go as many as 10 viruses up from the original 4 that the current Gardasil.
Well, that still leaves 90-something.
Right. But they're promoting it as that these 10 are the most prominent of the 100 or whatever. The thinking, though, that I'm looking at is, if they're trying to rush this thing, what they're trying to do is get this thing out in the market to cover up all the disaster that the regular Gardasil is, what it's done, the damage that it's done.
The death, the Gilbar syndrome.
If they can get all that, if they can get the new vaccine out, and it's been shown that it doesn't injure as many, probably make it a little bit more safer. Okay, then they can probably withstand the damage of that. We're going to find out what the original Gardasil did, 10 years from now in these other countries, because some of these other countries, you can sue the manufacturer directly. Here in the United States, you can't. So I think they're trying to rush to get it into the marketplace to cover their liability. This whole thing is, this vaccine is not necessary in most cases.
No.
I don't see it as Dr. Diane Harper. She was on Katie Couric yesterday, saying that Pap smear, the protocol for Pap smears will do a much better job at catching and detecting any type of an HPV virus, and going from there instead of subjecting. There is a known risk group, and so it's you hear when I was trying to bring up this Katie Couric issue yesterday, so when she had Rosemary Mathis and a few other mothers on, Emily Tarsal, who lost her daughter, and Rosemary Mathis, I believe it's her daughter, was on with her, but I think, and then Emily Tarsal lost her daughter, and she's currently having a petition.
Do you know them?
Yes, I do. I know Emily Tarsal.
I mean, I would be welcome to interview them and let them speak. I have up to 3 hours daily.
Yeah,
and this can be downloaded to iTunes.
I will get you connected with Emily, because she is a real big advocate for the Gardasil mothers and the advocates for all the injured girls out there. Matter of fact, there's actually a few cases of some very tragic happenings with boys, because they're now licensing this vaccine to give to boys as well.
Well, I think they did that because it was originally manufactured for men. I think that's their recourse, that they can say in the production of the vaccine, when we created this, it was initially targeted for boys. I mean, had you ever even heard of some of the information I got from Dr. Boyle?
I've heard of the topic. I have not heard that she was stating that. So there's I haven't dug into that deep enough. I mean, if you want to talk about hepatitis B or MMR, I can get into there. Gardasil, because I interviewed a few families for my book as far as their experiences with the court, but that's been it. But it's been kind of, what I've noticed though is that the Gardasil community, what we consider the girls, they are maybe our best chance at voicing how dangerous these vaccines are, because they're still around to talk. Most of them can talk, whereas a lot of the autism community that are vaccine injured. Not all children with autism are vaccine injured, but those who are, a lot of them cannot communicate. My son is nonverbal, or can't communicate correctly. A lot of the girls who, he is dramatically improved in so many different areas. He's a very fun-loving kid. He's not violent. He's not threatening, not self-injurious. He'll have to be attended to, because he's not potty trained. He's 16. He's not potty trained, and he's nonverbal. But he communicates through an iPad. And he just loves to hang around, when it's leisure time. He hangs around, watches movies, or wants to sit with you and just kind of want to snuggle with you. Or he'll go out in the backyard and play and swing and enjoys out in the backyard. But we've been able to move that needle from the very severe end to maybe closer to the moderate end. But we know our limitations.
Congratulations. I know what that is like. I know what a big deal that is. And
well, it's, every child is different. We recognize we still have hope, just like you, of dramatic improvements, and you never know. Something
can
could
happen. It can.
That's right.
And that's not throwing a false hope. It can. So well, these are real issues, people. For the people that are listening, these are real issues. Today we're talking about the Gardasil vaccine, the vaccine court, and Katie Couric's show yesterday, and all the drama that's incurred from it. So I just, wow.
I'm going to tend to leave you. I'm going to have to.
Okay.
I don't want to dominate any more time, but it was a pleasure to.
Well, it's late at night.
Visit with you and your radio show.
I had a chance to do this. This is a new show for me to do, and if you know anybody that would like to tell their story, I'm wanting to get the stories out there, because the more they're heard, and then the more people talk about it,